And we are California Dreaming. Roshini Rajkumar here. Thank you for spending part of your Sunday with me on Real Talk with Roshini. I have been anticipating my next guest since I booked her a couple weeks ago, and I cannot wait for you to meet her as we approach 2020 and the 131st year of the Rose Parade and the 106th year of the Rose Bowl game. She is the president of the Rose Bowl, the Tournament of Roses, Laura Farber, joining us live from L.A. Hi there, Laura.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
You know, it is so great to hear your voice. I have been so looking forward to this. And last weekend, Minnesota Gopher fans were ecstatic. The Gophers went on to beat, 9-0. They beat Penn State. Yesterday, not so good against Iowa. So let's get right to it. Do we still have a chance at your tournament?
Of course you have a chance. By the way, I was so excited about the possibility, and I watched that riveting game yesterday. Look, at the end of the day, Minnesota has the same record currently as Penn State. Now, keep in mind, you've got Ohio State who's undefeated. But if Ohio State keeps playing the way they're playing, and Minnesota is able to win that, is it the Battle of the Axe, I think it's called, next weekend with Wisconsin? If they win that, from my understanding, they will go to the championship because they would have a tiebreaker with Penn State regardless because they beat Penn State, although Penn State's from a different group anyway, and they would play against Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. Regardless of that outcome, and, I would say that there's a decent chance Ohio State will win the whole thing, and that's not a bad thing. They would likely go to the CFP.
And we're fine with that here in Minnesota. We're fine with that.
I figured as much. And that would mean, I believe, that Minnesota would have an incredibly strong chance of coming to the Rose Bowl game. Now, keep in mind that we also pay attention to those CFP rankings. The way our system works is we take the highest ranked available team, so in the Big Ten, to play against the Pac-12. But fingers crossed. I did want to mention one other thing. When I was at the Big Ten kickoff in July, I had the incredible good fortune to meet Casey O'Brien,
who's
really? The holder for the Golden Gophers. You probably know all about
yes.
This amazing young man, 4-time cancer survivor, incredible story, incredible young man. Heard him speak, and he and I got a chance to visit afterwards because the theme we have this year, the power of hope, kind of fits right into his story. And he said to me, I'd love nothing more than come to the Rose Bowl. And I said, I'd love nothing more than for you to come to the Rose Bowl. So there's still hope, a lot of hope there.
And, Laura, your theme, the power of hope, really fits into what all Gopher fans across the globe are feeling. We are still hopeful.
Absolutely, and you should be, because you have an amazing program, an amazing coach, and PJ Fleck, he's incredible. He's charismatic. He's done amazing things. This whole team has been incredible this season, and it's been since 1962. And they did come out in 1962. They did beat the UCLA Bruins, but we'd love to have Minnesota back in our game.
Oh, yeah, we would love it, too. Some people a little angry with Coach Fleck today, a little angry yesterday, his run out onto the field. We've, seen and heard different things from commentators as well as from him directly on that run out, being protective of his player. What is your thought as the president of the Tournament of Roses when you see some of that kind of stuff happening unexpected?
Well, I can't judge. I'm not a coach. I'm not there on the sidelines. I don't know what's happening. I know people are going to feel how they're going to feel. At the end of the day, Minnesota's still having an incredible season, and I think the idea is to rally behind this incredible team and just think good thoughts, think about Wisconsin, focus on what's coming up next, and keep the hope alive. We would be thrilled to have Minnesota in our game, and we feel strongly about that, and I'll just keep reiterating that. Now, that being said, I can't personally take a position on any of this, as you know, because I have to be neutral, and we will host whoever comes here from the Big Ten with open arms because we love our partnership with the Big Ten Conference. It goes back to the 1940s. This has been in place for such a long time. It's incredible, and we're thrilled about that relationship. And frankly, any team that comes out here from the Big Ten always comes out with a ton of fans, with great support. And yes, the weather's pretty nice out here usually, so it works really well.
Yeah, and there are some hot rivalries in the Big Ten. That's what's so exciting. So, this coming Saturday, we have to get through our game with Northwestern. I don't take anything for granted. We need to take it very seriously, get that win, then go on to our home game against Wisconsin. That should be really, really fun but intense. I do have to congratulate Iowa and Iowa fans. I was watching the game yesterday with my 90-year-old father-in-law, my brother and sister-in-law, and my husband, all of whom are from Iowa. The hubby says he was going to win either way, Minnesota or Iowa, but everyone else was rooting for Iowa, so they got their game. But at the same time, I think those rivalries are what are so wonderful in college football. And as someone who is the president of the Tournament of Roses, that must be a really beautiful thing for you to see all over the country.
Oh, absolutely. No, it's wonderful. And I got to tell you, the Big Ten and the Pac-12 conferences, we are so proud of our partnership with these conferences. They epitomize what is wonderful about college football. They stress academics. They stress the importance of playing on the field and how you behave off the field. We love these relationships. We love these programs. We think they're fabulous. And we're thrilled that, we have continued through all the iterations of now the BCS, now the CFP, to maintain that strong relationship. It's very, very important to us.
Giving people a little bit of a programming note, Henry's halftime show will be coming up in a few minutes as soon as the Vikings game goes to halftime. And we still will be speaking with Laura Farber, so she has been gracious enough to say she'll hang with us through the halftime show, and we'll be able to open up the phone lines for all of you to talk with Laura Farber. She is the president of the Tournament of Roses. Laura, what a lot of people don't know is that this is an unpaid position. You basically have volunteered in the Tournament of Roses structure for 26 years to get to be the president. I mean, talk about endurance.
Yeah, that's what we do. We have 935 volunteers, and many of whom have been doing this for a very long time. And our ladder to become president is actually an 8-year ladder, so I found out in 2012 that I would be president in 2020. So there's a lot of planning. We have 32 operating committees, and by the time you're president, you've either served on, vice chaired, chaired, or coordinated every single one of those committees, so that when you're in this position, you have an idea, how to talk about the organization and how to represent the organization in where we go, which is all over the world. And the reason we go all over the world is we invite and go and support the bands that are marching in our parade, that not only consist of the two university bands for the two games they're playing in the Rose Bowl game, but bands that we have selected through a very vigorous application process. There's over 100 that applied for our particular parade, this one coming up on January 1, 2020. And we go and we help them to fundraise. That's the purpose of our visits. And so it's amazing to see how revered our parade and our game are internationally as well as nationally. It's very exciting. So I've been doing this for a long time and absolutely love it. And yes, you're right, I'm a full-time practicing attorney. That's what I do for my day job. And I still work, thank goodness for technology, but I absolutely love the volunteer side, and this experience has been amazing.
And for people who are wondering, because you are part of a sport that has a lot of stats, you are only the third woman and the first Latina to hold the president's chair or the role, which I think is also outstanding, but I would also say about time.
Thank you. Yes, I am the third woman. We had our first in 2006, our second in 2013, and now me. Our next one's coming up in 2 years. And then we just made number 8, the one that's going up for 8 years, a woman as well. So what's beautiful about our organization now, we had our first Asian American president in 2015, our first African American last year, and myself, is that our organization is organically becoming one that by membership and leadership is reflecting the diversity of our community. And we are thrilled about that. It's been great. It's been wonderful. And yes, it's been about time, but for the changes that were made by this organization back in the early 90s, when there were some concerns about the lack of diversity, we wouldn't be who we are today. And we have a nice, solid pipeline of future leadership in the works as well.
I'm talking with Laura Farber. She's the president of the Tournament of Roses. If you have any questions for her, give us a call or give us a text, 81807, the text line, 651-989-9226 or 866-989-9226, the phone line. It must be a big year in general. I mean, it's the 131st year next year of the parade, the 106th year of the game. But the very fact that it will be 2020 is probably really pivotal, is my guess.
Yes, it's very exciting, and we've been doing this for a long time. And the glorious thing is, we have so much tradition. We are steeped in tradition, both the parade and the game. We started in 1890. That's a long time ago. At that time, we didn't even have motor vehicles. We had horse-drawn carriages and a whole history there. And before the game, and intermittently, we had ostrich races and chariot races, and we had a whole variety of things.
You've tried it all.
Oh, yes. It was a destination, to get people to come out here, Pasadena, especially from the Midwest and the East, because of the cold winters, and to come and explore our wonderful area. And people ended up staying, which is lovely. We're not complaining about that. And so over the course of that long period, we've had an incredible run with incredible traditions. But you've got to innovate to stay relevant. And so that's the beautiful balance that we strive for, is a balance between innovation and tradition, maintaining the important traditions, but also opening up new channels, new ideas, and a new demographic to appeal to a very broad audience, so that we can stick around for another 131, if not way more than that, years, as well as our game.
We put some photos of you on both the WCCO Radio Facebook page and my Roshini Rajkumar public page on Facebook, of you with some of these different bands. What is it like going to Japan, for a community band, or going to a high school down in Mississippi and checking out the bands? What is that process like?
Oh, it's been unbelievable. We have the largest number of international bands we've ever had this year, and one of those bands is our band from Japan to celebrate the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. It's going to be comprised of students from 8 different cities, and we visited those 8 cities in 10 days. And they don't practice together in Japan. They practice when they get here, before they actually do the field show, which is Band Fest on December 29th and 30th, and then march in our parade. They are so incredible and so talented. And the band from the one that you identified from West Harrison, Mississippi, that band school was formed as a result of Hurricane Katrina. 970 students in that school. 270 of them are in the band.
So you said, 100 bands have applied to be in the parade and in the festivities. Will they all get in?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's
we don't
what I thought.
Room.
So how do you decide?
Well, they present a video application. They have to show that they can turn around our interesting turn on Orange Grove in Colorado, which is not a 90-degree angle. So they have to show that they can manage that turn. They have to be incredibly talented and musical, which most of them are. But for us, we wanted stories. We wanted to hear about what made that band unique. And also, of course, we didn't want them to be all returning bands. We have some returning bands. You can't be in our parade more than once every 4 years, so that we thereby provide an opportunity for a lot of different bands. We have a lot of new bands in the parade this year as well.
Who are you really excited about for this, like in the new side?
Oh, gosh, I'm excited about everybody, but let me tell you about a few.
Yes.
There are some amazing bands. Well, I mentioned West Harrison. We haven't had a band from Mississippi in a long time. We have Pearland, Texas, which is out of Houston. They were involved in Hurricane Harvey relief, another incredible band. We have a band from upstate New York, Baldwinsville, not far from Syracuse. They recorded an LP, this band, unbelievable. And they're not far from Seneca Falls, which is the site of the first Women's Rights Convention in 1848. We didn't plan it that way. It just kind of worked out that way, which was incredible. Because we have a big anniversary, by the way, coming up next year, which I'll chat about in a few minutes.
Oh, yes. We may have to save that for after the halftime show. The thing that I think is so unique is that this Tournament of Roses, I mean, it is an American tradition. It's a huge football tradition, a tradition of sports. So, I mean, even if you're not a football fan, you've heard about the Rose Bowl. You've probably seen the parade on TV. I mean, there are so many angles to this that I would guess is hard to manage, but also really exciting to manage.
It's wonderful. It's an awesome opportunity. And you don't appreciate the impact you have on people's lives until you travel. And as I mentioned, the largest number of international bands, we have a band from Costa Rica, we have a band from Aguiluchos from Puebla, Mexico, a band from San Salvador, Grande como su gente, from the 50 municipalities in El Salvador. That means every single stretch of that country has a representative in the band, regardless of socioeconomic status, because of the support of the government and corporate entities that are sponsoring and allowing them to come and perform on the largest international platform that they've ever performed on in the world. And a lot
Wow.
of these kids have never left their towns or their cities, let alone their countries. They've never gotten in an airplane, and they're going to come. And I believe this will be a life-changing moment for all of them. I have to mention another band, Southern University, HBCU, out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and the Dancing Dolls. They're called the Human Jukebox. That band is off the charts, unbelievably amazing. And there's one band that I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, well, two more. Alhambra Unified School District, that's my alma mater, a local band. But another one, Rancho Verde Crimson Regiment out of Moreno Valley, not so far from here. That school is a military families Title I school. 85% of those kids are on reduced or free lunch, and that school district provides brand new free uniforms and instruments and maintains them so that you can be part of that band regardless of your ability to afford it. 350 band members, most of them are AP and honors students. That band is going to blow everyone's socks off. They are, if you talk about the power of hope, they epitomize the power of hope. Amazing.
You know, in the Power of Hope, your theme, how did you arrive at that?
Well, every president gets to do two things that nobody can ever veto, one of which is to select the theme. So my husband, Tomas, and I came up with this theme. There's a story to it. And do you want me to tell the story now? We've got a little bit of time.
Yeah, we got about a minute 6 in the game, but that could go on for 2 minutes. But yeah, tell us the story. Be quick.
No worries. I was born in Buenos Aires, Argentina, at a time where things were very difficult in that country. And my parents were students at the University of Buenos Aires, and the students tend to be the most vocal critics of the government. And it was pre-dirty wartime. And things got really bad in that country, bad. And so my parents had to make the decision to leave everyone and everything they knew to start a new life in this country. My husband, Tomas Lopez, similar story, different time frame, Dominican Republic. Dictator Trujillo was there, and things were horrible. Both of our families came to this country, and we're both proud immigrants. And they came to the United States of America because it represented a beacon of hope. Hope for freedom of expression, association, freedom of speech, freedom to pursue your educational and economic opportunities. And so that was something that drove our theme. But hope is much more than that. It's the idea that what you want, what you believe you can attain, you can, and it's dignity and respect and joy and happiness and aspiration and achievement. And, with hope, it never quits and no one can take it away from you. And anything, in fact, everything is possible with hope, including a football player hoping for a personal best or a win, and their parents hoping that they also win but don't get hurt in the process. The hope of a band director for those incredible students to be inspired and to want to make music a part of their lives, or the hope of a teacher that a student will be passionate about learning, or the hope that scientists will cure disease, or the hope that we have as parents for our kids when we drop them off at kindergarten that they will be okay at school, and then when we drop them off at college that we'll be okay. So hope is something everyone can relate to, and the theme is El Poder de la Esperanza, and the same, and translated in Spanish. It's very impactful, and it has been impactful throughout our travels, and we're very, very excited about it.
Yeah, and that word means so much, and I love how you talk about the different layers and the different people who carry that hope. And, I joke, I say, Gopher fans, we remain hopeful. But really at every level of participation for the Tournament of Roses, that word hope can definitely resonate. And, it can be difficult finding themes for major events and keeping it fresh and relevant for everybody that could participate. And it seems like you did a really good job with the Power of Hope theme, Laura.
Well, I appreciate that, and little did we know that at a time where our country and our world are so divided, that America's New Year's celebration would have the word hope in it to bring everyone together. And interestingly, I don't know if you knew this, but in our 130-year history, not one theme has had the word hope in it. And we think that's incredible because America's New Year's celebration should have hope, because it's hope for, a new year, New Year's resolutions, turning over a new leaf, etc. And we were just thrilled and how well it's been received and how well everybody has been able to connect with this theme.
Yeah, no, it's terrific. All right, Laura, we're going to say goodbye for Roshini Rajkumar back with you on Real Talk with Roshini. And as I was saying to Henry, it is my little 8-month-old nephew, Remington's first Vikings game. Come on, Vikings. Do this one for Remy. Bring it back. And who we are bringing back is my guest from earlier in the hour. She's fabulous. She is the president of the Tournament of Roses, Laura Farber. She is a practicing attorney in L.A. She has been a longtime volunteer of the Tournament of Roses organization, 26 years to be exact, before getting the presidency. And boy, what a ride she is already having, visiting all different states and countries and towns, visiting the bands from high school to community to college bands. We are now opening the phone lines for you so you can talk with Laura Farber. 651-989-9226, 866-989-9226, or text me at 81807. Laura, thanks for hanging with us through Henry's Halftime Show. Lots to get into. When you look at all of the things that you have to do before January 1st and the game and the parade, how would you prioritize, like, your top three things right now that you have to get done?
Well, from today on, we're done with band travel except for one band trip that we have this coming Wednesday. So we have our bands in pretty good shape. So really what we're doing is, going and spreading the word about the theme, making sure that our float participants, those are the folks that are helping to build our floats, which, by the way, that goes on year-round. And we have 45 floats in the parade this year. So those are being built. They have self-built and they have commercial built. So we'll go and we'll finish the testing and the structure building, because they don't put the flowers on until closer to the time of the parade because they have to stay fresh. So we'll be checking on all of that through all of our committees. We are having a lot of meetings and interfacing with our partners and our vendors, making sure that our I's are dotted, our T's are crossed. We have a band contest that is going to be coming to its fruition. All of the bands submitted videos, so we're having something going on there. Been doing a ton of community outreach. We just had a Parade of Roses program. We did outreach to a local community schools where they did a decoration of vases with flowers, and then we offered some scholarships to award winners for essays that they wrote about the power of hope, things like that, and activities.
Well, you've really brought, like, all levels of communities into this conversation. It's not just football teams and bands. I mean, there's so many different layers. You have 45 floats. I can't believe it. I have more questions for you, but we have a bunch of calls coming in. So I want to go to Judy, who's calling from Excelsior. Hi, Judy.
Hi, Laura and Roshini. I'm really full of hope right now. I'm a 38-year Gopher football season ticket holder. I've been to the Rose Bowl twice, not having seen the Gophers, of course. Want to get there. Laura, I'd like to ask you, what one experience would you recommend that Minnesota fans not miss when they go out to Pasadena on January 1?
I love the way the verbs you're using there, Judy. All right. Great question, Laura.
I love your hopefulness, by the way. I think that's fantastic. And in terms of one experience, I would say there's a couple. I can't just answer it with one. I have to give you at least two. So let me give you at least two, besides, of course, the parade and the game and everything going on the day of. One is, I highly recommend that you try and get into one of the float barns to see how these floats are decorated. It is absolutely unbelievably amazing. So if you can do that, I think that would be fantastic. And then the other, and I guess I'm going to pick between two, we have a new food and wine festival called Sip and Savor that I would highly recommend down at the Rose Bowl. But if you get in town by at least the 29th, Band Fest. That is over at Passy City College, where all of our bands are performing field shows. And we always invite the university bands for the teams that are participating in the Rose Bowl game to also be a part of that. And hopefully that would be the case if Minnesota is in our game, that you would also get a chance to see the Minnesota band perform. They perform on the afternoon of the 29th and 2 sessions on the 30th. I highly recommend this. It's going to be unbelievable.
That sounds amazing. All right. We're running tight on time, but I want to get to Ken, who's calling from Blaine. Hi, Ken.
Hello. I just wanted to say hi to Laura. I'm a long-term volunteer with the Minneapolis Aquatennial, and the Minneapolis Aquatennial and the Tournament of Roses have an exchange program where the Aquatennial representatives visit the Tournament of Roses, and the Tournament of Roses representatives visit the Minneapolis Aquatennial in July.
Very nice. Laura,
yes, you do.
It's so fun to hear about that. And yet again, another connection to how you're really trying to have all this great relevance and connectivity with communities around the country.
Absolutely, and I actually visited Minneapolis as part of that Aquatennial experience. It was incredible, and we have festival guests here from all over the world that come, and we will host them as part of the activities, and I look forward to, hopefully you're coming out. I would love for you to be out here. I think it'll be fantastic.
You know, it's funny, I called one of my favorite hotels out there, Laura, and just to look into making a reservation, you know, in the hope that we're coming out. They're requiring prepayment for the hotel room. And I said, well, I first need to see. And at that price point, I kind of can't eat that if we don't go. But I am hopeful that we're going. So I'm hoping I can call back and make that reservation. Really quickly, Laura, how many roses are actually part of the Tournament of Roses?
Oh, my goodness. If I had to answer that, I would be a rocket scientist. It is a lot of roses. I can say that there's millions of them, and we get them from all over the world, especially Ecuador, believe it or not. They export a whole host of roses, and they're ordered way ahead of time once the people designing the floats know what they're going to do and how they're going to decorate, because every float has to be covered completely with natural materials, whether those are flowers or roses in particular, or whether they are vegetables, lentils, you know, pampas grass, which creates that texture on a teddy bear.
Perhaps wild rice from Minnesota.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Everything is fair game.
I love it. Well, Laura Farber, just a joy to chat with you, and I really hope we'll chat with you again closer to the Rose Bowl games so we can talk about how the Gophers are going to be one of your teams and maybe even that award-winning Gopher Marching Band, which is really an amazing band. And a shout-out to all the bands around Minnesota. Apply to go to the Tournament of Roses. I mean, you're locking in this year's or 2020's, but hopefully more bands will consider going. And
I think it would be
competing
great.
For their ability to perform. Laura Farber, thank you so much. We will be in touch. Thank you. You were just exceptional, and we had so much fun with you today.
Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to hopefully speaking with you again, and thank you to all of your amazing fans. Take care.
Thanks, Laura. All right. I am hopeful that this talk show host is going to be in Pasadena in just under 2 months. We're going to take a